You're connecting to a current aspect of you that you have repressed and abandoned. So the inner child more aptly should be called your innocence. What's up? It's Chris, your spiritual mentor, and I wanted to talk to you about something that you might not be aware of, because a lot of people really tend to overlook this aspect of spiritual healing, and they focus on a part of this aspect and they don't fully understand it. And that aspect is the inner child. So your inner child is an aspect of you. It's not what a lot of people think. So let's talk about what people think the inner child is. When you normally ask people about their inner child, they think of like a childlike version of themselves. They think of maybe themselves at a certain age, and they think that that is their inner child. And the way that they work with their inner child is by watching Disney movies they liked as a kid, or maybe they do a sport or activity that they really loved as a kid. And this is only addressing a part of the inner child's needs. So in this video, we're going to get into a comprehensive understanding of what the inner child actually is and how you can have a much better relationship with your inner child beyond doing simple things like watching a princess movie or, playing baseball. The inner child is not a childhood version of yourself. It's not the actual child version of yourself in the past. It is the aspect of you that radiates innocence. And that aspect is still a part of you as you watch this video. It's not like when you connect to your inner child, you're necessarily connecting to the past version of you. You're connecting to a current aspect of you that you have repressed and abandoned. So the inner child more aptly should be called your innocence. Because the idea that it's your inner child implies that only children should be innocent. But in reality, innocence is an aspect of humanity. All adults at their core have this aspect of innocence within them. And it doesn't mean that innocence is in any way childlike. The really sad thing is, people call innocence the inner child because they only ever see it embodied and expressed in children. And that goes to show you how dead inside the vast majority of adults are in this world, that when we see that innocent light, we associate it only to kids. Your inner child is actually like a real child in the sense that you need to build a relationship, you need to build trust, you need to listen to your inner child, and you need to do your best to protect your inner child, because this inner aspect of you is very raw. It's very malleable, and it's very susceptible to other influences. So it's very important that your heart space, your mind, your body are in great shape so you can actually handle being innocent in this world. So one of my favorite examples of this is something I learned from this coach and influencer, Garen Jones. And what he says is, imagine if you had an actual child, maybe some of you do, and every day they were tugging on your shirt going, "Dad, Dad, Dad." Or they're going, "Mom, hey, Mom, hey, Mom." And imagine you ignored them for one day. And then the next day they do the same thing. "Mom, hey, Mom, Mom." You ignore them again. What happens if you ignore them for 5 days? What happens if you ignored them for a month? What about a year? What about decades? Well, that's the position some of you are in right now with your inner child. So if you'd like, I can guide you through a quick little 2-minute experience to connect with your inner child. All you have to do is take 3 deep breaths, relaxing the shoulders with each out breath. And you can say, inner child, is there anything that you want to say to me? And then try your best to sit in silence. Don't come up with an answer from your mind. If it's just silence, let it be silence. But listen. Is there anything you want to tell me, inner child? For me, my inner child says, I love you. So I've been taking really good care of my innocence lately. But for you, it might be different. You might hear a sad response, a kind of shameful, numb response, or even a very angry response. You might even feel like your inner child's yelling at you, which if you've been ignoring them for decades, it makes sense, right? It makes sense that your inner child would be yelling at you. So now what I want you to ask is there anything that I can do for you in the next week or two that will help you feel better? And see what answer you get. For some of you, it might be, I really want to go dance, or I really want to play music, or I really want to go play that game that I loved as a kid, or the sport. Or maybe you want to talk to someone, If it's something you can pretty much surely promise to your inner child, I want you to make that promise to your inner child that you will do something like that for them, whether that's take them out to eat their favorite food, take them out to go see their favorite movie or play their favorite sport, or even just, do something at home, cook something that you always loved as a kid, play a game you loved as a kid, whatever it is. But it's so important that you keep your promise. Because a big thing that happened with the inner child is we often break promises to ourselves, and that causes a split in our relationship with ourself. Our inner child is an aspect of who we are. So when we ignore our inner child, we're ignoring a very vital part of ourself, of our spirit, of our entire being. Understand that it might take longer than you want for you to build a really good relationship with your inner child, and that's okay. It's just like a real child. You should totally understand if your inner child is upset with you for not tending to them for a very long time. Understand that opening up in this way is so valuable, and it will absolutely change your life in so many ways. And it's often the missing ingredient that a lot of people don't have in their life. So if you'd like, I have a free breathwork class that we do every Wednesday. We just shifted it. It used to be Sunday. Now it's every Wednesday. And you can join for free at the link in this description. So I'd love to see you there. It's an awesome community, and you can join at the Telegram link below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you got some value, and I'll see you next time.